Okay, so we sat down to record this episode, and on Instagram as Pierre's getting all the lighting right. Shout out to our production tech,
Boy,
our lighting guy, our producer. No, all the things.
well,
You do
side
a lot
note,
of
I always
things.
have to crank the AC before we start recording because I get so hot and sweaty setting up all these cameras y'all looking at right now and all the lights that are here in our living room.
That's actually usually why I have a blanket, and I don't have a blanket today. And I was getting in a bad mood because I was too cold. Anyways,
It's okay.
I'm on Instagram, and this video pops up where this guy is interviewing a former CEO of Blockbuster and 7-Eleven. So multi-million dollar companies, and he's the former CEO. And the interviewer asked the guy, "Hey, like, what's your top three things of how did you get to where you are?" His number one thing was change, and
Mm,
he said, "Change equals opportunity." And he was like, "Actually, that's how I've coined the phrase CEO. CEO, change equals
that's crazy. You know
opportunity
what? You told me that earlier, and I guess I wasn't listening to you, which now makes a lot of sense. Change equals
equals opportunity,
opportunities.
CEO."
CEO, that's crazy. See, I'm excited about this topic because we love talking about opportunities here in our household. We're always talking about, there's one of my old teachers, mentors that used to always say, opportunities come to those who are prepared. If you're not prepared, you will never see opportunities. And even not even just see opportunities, even recognize that opportunities are right there in front of you. And so change is one of the big ones, which I didn't realize that's what you was mentioning to me
Yeah,
earlier.
and so he was saying you have to lean into the change. He was like, "Everybody hates change." He was like, "The only people that like change is a baby who needs their diaper changed."
That's funny.
It's like,
He's a
but
grandpa, huh?
yeah, he was like, "But if you can be the difference and you can lean into change and think, oh, wait, here's change. This can equal opportunity." He was like, "You can leverage that and you'll get to like progress
Yeah,
and rise above all the other people because you embrace that change rather than what most people say are like, I don't like this change. I don't want to do this."
yeah, yeah. Even with like when it comes to opportunities, as you're talking, I think about, opportunities can even come to us when we develop relationships with other people.
So true.
Opportunities can even come to us, or we can realize opportunities when we learn to communicate what we're going through better. You're in a situation right now where you're talking to one of your clients and you're able to elaborate and communicate something that you're working on.
Yep.
And because you were able to get your words together properly, she saw an opportunity through your words. And I remember you coming home and I said to you, after you told me the whole story, I'm like, do you see the opportunity here?
And I was like, heck yeah. And I told that person, yes, a
Yeah.
million times, yes.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So
what.
I think it's really learning as we grow in entrepreneurship because that's something for us. I'm working on a few things on the side and realizing that this entrepreneur life, if that's something you're interested in or you'd like to see that in yourself someday, a lot of that is really taking risks.
Right.
And what those risks mean are different things, but a lot of that risk is honestly just taking a jump into the unknown.
Yeah.
You can strategize, you can think you have it all figured out, and maybe you think that that will give you like the confidence to make that jump.
Hmm.
But I was talking to other friends of ours that are entrepreneurs, and they were like, "Yeah, we took the first jump and then now a year later we're at the second jump and we just have to jump again." And it
Yeah.
was like a light bulb that entrepreneurship, growing businesses, taking risks is literally just a jump after a jump after a jump.
Yeah.
None of it will ever make sense perfectly on paper. And if it does make sense on paper, it's not going to play out that way. So
Right.
then your paperwork was for nothing.
And I feel like sometimes people think that, they have a little thought, you have a little idea, and you just want it to be this huge, massive thing, right? Even us going live with all this YouTube stuff, right? I have guys saying like, "Oh man, you like, are you guys going viral? Have you guys gone viral yet?" And I'm like, I'm not chasing,
That's
I'm not
not
chasing
on our
that. I'm
book
not
at
trying
all.
to be viral. I said this before. I'm like, I'm not trying to go viral. I'm trying to bring value,
Yeah.
right? But we won't ever know what that's going to feel like to get to level 10 if we don't start with level 1. And a lot of times we think because we imagine the unknown, it's the unknown, right? It's that fear. which holds us back. But really, what we have to realize is what's the very next opportunity that's before you. And if there are no opportunities that's before you, first of all, I'm gonna tell you this, it's a lie. There are
Mm,
opportunities in everything. It's your perception, it's your point of view, right? And it's your preparation that is holding you back from seeing the opportunities that are in front of you. There's opportunities everywhere.
so true.
Like anytime I walk into a room, I think, okay, and I'm gonna say this too. You know, like people think, oh man, that guy's an opportunist. There's nothing wrong with being an opportunist if you're healthy with it, right? You know, there's an opportunity for two people to come into a partnership. What makes you unhealthy is if you're only thinking about yourself and you're
That's for
only thinking about
sure.
what can I get out of this. I walk into a room and I think, okay, what can I bring to this room? What type of value can I bring to this gathering? What type of value can I bring in this meeting? Also, what type of opportunities are before me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think what you said though is like so important to zone in on. What is the difference of being an opportunist and looking for opportunities?
Yeah,
And it's where is your viewpoint? Is it about yourself
yeah,
or is it about the
yeah,
opportunity?
yeah. Because looking for opportunity, it's it's both sides. It's reciprocated.
Right.
So I'm trying to see what type of opportunities I can make available for people that I'm around, that I'm in the
Right.
room. There's an opportunity here for me, but there's an opportunity here for you too as well. And some people who aren't healthy, they'll look at me and say, "Oh man, this guy just wants an opportunity." Right, for both of us. But if you're not
Right.
prepared and your perception is all jacked up, you're just thinking that I'm just trying to get after myself, which of course, but also you could benefit from this too as well if your perception is proper and you're prepared for an opportunity that's before you too.
But we can also, a lot of us can think of those people that walk into a room and you're like, oh man, this person is such an
Yeah.
opportunist,
Yeah.
but it has nothing to do with the people around them. It only has to do with that person
Yeah.
themselves. And they'll
Yeah.
do whatever they can
Hmm.
to figure it out for
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. So my question that I have for everybody that's listening to this right now are are you in a position right now where you feel like, man, there's just no opportunities in front of me, right? Are you like looking at your life, you're looking at your situation, you're like, man, just nothing has opened up. So I read a quote
Mm,
the other day, which these police sirens right now, you guys hear this? This is what happens when it's city life. You
City
can't
life,
even
guys.
you can't even cut that out the microphones.
You
We just go, you
can't.
just use it, right?
We're just gonna leave
You're
it.
just gonna use it. I read a quote the other day and it said that opportunities don't knock at the door, that you actually have to kick down the door. And I thought, I was like, I don't know, I feel like that's debatable.
Right.
I feel like that's debatable because I understand what that person is talking about, meaning like you have to go
You
looking
have to
for it
go
and the
after it.
opportunities are on the other side of that door and you have to knock it down. But actually, I can argue that and say, I think sometimes an opportunity may be a simple knock at the door. Opportunities, I don't think bang on the door,
Mm-mm, I think it's
but
a very soft
I
knock
think it's just a
and you
knock,
have
knock.
to hear it.
You have to hear. You have to be like, "Oh, did you guys see that?
Mhm.
Or did you hear that?" I know for me, every time I'm in meetings and people are talking, a lot of times we always think about, okay, what's the first thing we're gonna say? I've learned hard now to actually listen, and sometimes I'll even take notes. So, like, if I'm having like one-on-ones or meeting like with people, and they say something that triggers a thought, before I water on that thought, I'll just jot it down so I can listen to the rest of the stuff that they're saying while they elaborate. My thought actually starts to grow.
And we've talked about this before too of when you have a thought or someone says something that sparks something, like ask a question first.
Yeah,
So asking a question about that thought of like, "Oh, you said this. What does that mean for you or
yeah,
how does that make you feel?" Like we've said that in other episodes of like, wait, ask the question first before you pounce on
yeah.
that idea.
Yeah, so I've been praying. I was talking to someone the other day, and there's a few opportunities that's in front of them after they spoke to me about their situation that they're going through. They only saw one opportunity. After they finished speaking, I was like, there's about four opportunities that you just stated here. They're like, really? I said, let's talk slowly,
Mm,
break down everything that you just said. And I remember telling the person, I said, I think you need to pray
mm.
that God helps you see the opportunities that are in front of you.
That's amazing.
How many opportunities do we have in front of us that we're straight up missing? So we're sometimes we're struggling in life. Sometimes we're going through some situations, our businesses, the stuff that we're trying to start, the people that we're in relationship with, and we're just like, man, just nothing is opening up. Maybe, or maybe you haven't changed anything in your life to present new opportunities. It's like going to the gym, right? You might walk into the gym and you see all these things that are in the gym, and you're like, man, I don't know. I can never do 3 pull ups. You don't have to do a pull up. There are other pull machines that can work the same back muscles. And if you prepare yourself, build yourself up, one day you might be able to hang on that bar
Right.
and do one pull up. I
It's
get it.
true.
You can't do that pull up right now. But there are other things in this gym that can prepare you for that,
It's true.
right?
And there are people in the gym that can help you get to that point.
Yeah.
And that person sitting there saying, "Hey, this is what I have. And I think there's only one option." But because they trusted you and confided in you, you're like, actually, you have about four options.
Yeah.
I think it's so valuable. And we talk about this all the time. Relationships, who's around you. I said something today and I said it to you. I said, since it did kind of sound smart, but I wasn't being smart. And you asked me, you said, "Do you really mean it?" But I said,
Yeah.
"Because you have such a good viewpoint from over there, what should I do?"
Yeah.
And it did sound smart, but it really meant like when I'm in this situation, when I'm here looking at myself, it's really hard to see a full 360.
Yeah.
But because you are my partner and you're sitting over there and you have such a good viewpoint of me
Right.
outside of myself, you can see a different perspective. What should I do?
Yeah, so it's an opportunity to grow. One of the biggest things I think there's a pitfall also too for people where they get to the point where they just accept who they are, they accept the situation, they accept the hand that they've been dealt, and they don't want to grow. You don't want to read books, you don't want to listen to podcasts, you don't want to listen to other people. Listen to Craig Rochelle the other day, and he talks about how there's a style of decision makers, and some of them are like lone wolf
Yeah.
like decision makers. So they only make decisions by themselves.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, like there's someone else that's in the room that has a different viewpoint from it, right?
Right.
It's like sports. I talk about this all the time in leadership. It's like sports. Like you don't want everyone on your team to play the same position
Right.
because there's other people on the field that have a different perspective on the field. And so for you to get to that point tells me that you were healthy enough to actually partner up with someone else in your relationship and say, hey, how do you see it
Right.
from where you are?
Right.
And I think we need to grow up sometimes. You know, I've been saying that in the last couple of episodes
Yeah.
about growing up. If we can grow up, like I know our kids, like as they grow up, they're able to see mom and dad differently. They're
Yeah.
able to see our house differently. Our son right now, he's understanding money differently and how you have to work for it, right? That comes with growing up, but that comes with change. If
Right.
you want opportunities to open up in your life, there's some things that you're gonna have to change. The ideas and things that you used to do back in the day, stuff that you used to do. I was reading in a book the other day, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it talks about how ideas and opportunities and things that were mindsets that were assets, right? Assets in the past for the future could be a liability. So there might be something that you've done, and it's like this is how we've always done it.
Mm.
If that's how you've always done it and you don't like the results that you're doing, you either need to change some things, you either need to get other people in your life, you need to be able to open up your eyes so that you can see new opportunities. Even in that same book, I like a thought that it said, like it talked about how opportunities sometimes aren't even seen with your eyes, they are seen with your mind. I'm gonna say that one more time. Opportunities aren't even seen sometimes with your eyes, they are seen with your mind. So sometimes the way you see it may not be the way that the results are gonna come out. You might be able, you should get other people in your life. You should be able to look at it through other filters, read books, listen to podcasts, gain more understanding. And now your mind grows, and now your perception changes, and now your eyes are seeing new opportunities.
It's true. Also, I just want to say that I'm really itchy in this episode. Guys, I had an allergy test this
That's
week,
crazy.
and I keep finding myself like itching my face, itching my neck. I'm like, in this video, they're gonna be like, why is Danny Lee so fidgety? That's why, y'all. I had an allergy test this week,
Oh,
and
great.
it sucked.
Now you look like me, like when I'm always doing this. And I'm always like, they're like, why is he always like smacking his face all the time? Relax, stop judging me. All right. I need all y'all
Anyways,
to
I just
chill.
needed to put it out there. If y'all see that I'm fidgety today, that's why. I also love, I had this quote too. Most people overestimate the risks and underestimate what they can accomplish. And I think that that speaks to a lot of how we move in certain things, in certain aspects. like underestimate how far we could actually take something if we just jump out,
Right.
but we underestimate, um wait, what is it? Yeah, we underestimate how much we can accomplish, but we overestimate the risks. So
Mm,
we think that there's all these reasons why we shouldn't do it and that it may not go very far. But if you actually flip flop it, like you could take it so far
yeah.
and there's just a few little humps you're going to have to get over.
Yeah.
And so I just think that that's a lot of the mindset, your mindset, shifting your mind, changing your habits.
Yeah.
All of those things will roll into
Yeah.
success.
So if you're in a situation right now where you're like, man, I need to figure out how to make more income, right? We're in a situation similar to like to that where we're like
Yeah.
life is changing. Like, okay, what else? What are other things that we can do
Yeah.
to bring other streams of income besides the ones that we have?
Right.
Right. So for us, we start reading more books. We start gaining more understanding. We start collabing with those that's gone before us. Like you guys heard me say it in our first, maybe second episode about, getting advice from people who you want your life to look like. So there's people that I'll reach out to and I say, hey man, I see certain things happen in your life. Like talk me through how'd you get there? And I'm gonna say this too. If you guys haven't caught up on some of the other episodes, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna pause right now and also say if you feel like this is bringing you value and you guys are enjoying this channel, hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, download these episodes, save them, screen record them, screenshot it, send it to somebody. Listen, we love y'all.
Screen record it.
Screen record it. That's the world we live in, right? People screen record it, tag it on IG, on
That's true. Go
TikTok.
for it.
We're on TikTok, by the way, if you guys don't
We
know it.
are on TikTok.
We had to get on it, unfortunately. No, I'm
Unfortunately,
playing. We're on TikTok. We're on IG, and we're also on Facebook, which is I personally hate Facebook.
we're trying to hit certain generations. So
Yeah.
Facebook generation, Instagram generation, TikTok generation.
All that, all the above. But opportunities, right? What's right in front of you that you can't even see? And if you can't see it, what can you do to gain more understanding so that you're able to think? For us Christians and believers, like we believe that we don't walk by sight, right? We walk by faith.
Right.
So if you guys don't know that, right? Paul talks about it in First Corinthians. That's in the Bible. There's a book in the Bible, and he talks about that how like we actually don't walk by what we see, we walk by what we believe. So if you believe you could do it, if you believe that you can see it, right, then gain more understanding, gain more knowledge. And I guarantee you, in your situation right now, more opportunities will open up. I would never forget many years ago. So for those of you who don't know, we've lived in a lot of different places, 6 different states between just the two of us.
A lot of places.
6 different, all of us were born in different states, by the way. If you guys don't, I guess we should probably tell more about our story, right? Dan Lee was born in Indiana. I was born in New York. Jordan was born in Florida. Brooklyn was born in California. But we've lived in so many different places. I've always talked about how Jordan, right, lived in 3 different states by the time he was 3,
Right.
which is crazy. That's bananas. That's wild, right? But I'll never forget one time when we were living in St. Louis, Missouri, and we were loving it. We loved it there. I was working for a church there, was part of the community. We actually never wanted to leave.
No,
We
we
loved it.
wanted
I
to
was
have
like,
all our kids in St. Louis and buy a house in a
I-
really cute neighborhood
yeah,
in St.
I was
Louis.
like, oh snap, we live right here in the middle of the country. It's a few hours to get to Memphis, few hours to get to Nashville. We can get to Kansas City, Chicago,
It was
all
the
the different
first time
places.
we were in driving distance of my family.
Yeah,
That
we
had
could.
never happened.
I'm like, yo, we could drive everywhere. And one day, we're like, all right, we like where we're living. Let's find another place. So we started looking at different townhouses, condos, houses, all this stuff. Like we weren't ready to buy yet because we've only been there for a year. But we're like, let's try a different part of the city. Let's rent out something different so we can get a feel for these Midwestern houses. I've never been around basements that much because I lived in Florida. Yeah,
Basements.
so
They're
all
the
that. So we're like,
best.
let's figure out what we could rent. Every single door closed in our face.
Slammed shut.
We were looking for apartments, condos, townhouses, houses, you name it in St. Louis that year. We
We saw
could
it.
not find it. Every single time a door opened up application, we would hear from the realtor saying like, sorry, this place is no longer being rented out.
Yep.
Or we'd be like, someone else jumped in front of it. We're like, we'll pay more. Someone else, it's so many different things. One day a buddy of mine comes to me and say, hey man, I know you guys are getting ready to move, but you haven't found a place. I got a really nice basement, brand new house. Basement is completely furnished. There's a bed, bathroom, TV, all that stuff down there. You guys can stay there in the meantime if you'd like. I was like, oh, cool, man, I appreciate that. But I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is me. This is my wife. I have a kid. Like, I'm not staying in another man's basement. I'm a music pastor at a big church, all this type of stuff. I'm like, I cannot do that. So we're still looking. We're still applying. We are stressed out. We are frustrated. We're confused. I'm
Oof.
getting mad at God.
I
Like,
was
God,
so mad
what
at
are you
him.
doing? Why are these doors closing in my face? Nothing is opening up.
I was so mad at him.
Getting so frustrated. And then I start thinking, like, okay, there's a lot going on right now. Okay, I also think you guys heard me say this in the last episode, the episode about balance and boundaries, and I talked about how God opens doors and He closes doors too,
Yep.
and every single door was closing up. And one day I said, you know what? Okay, God, whatever that you're doing, show me, show me. And I remember hearing this guy's words in my head, like, we got a basement if you just want to jump in it. Meantime, I called him up. I said, hey, bro, is that offer still on the table? He's like, yes. We moved out within 2 days, crashed his basement. It was actually one of the best experiences we ever had. It was a really
That's
cool, it
great.
was
He
in
was a
between.
great host.
But here's what I'm saying. About a week later, I was praying and I felt in my heart, I think we're supposed to move back to Florida.
Yeah.
We moved back to Florida literally within a week from that moment. If it had not been for my buddy who opened up his basement,
Yeah.
we would have still been there scrambling, trying to rent anything. We would have locked ourselves in a lease. And when I tell you guys, I'm gonna share this for a whole nother day. The opportunities that opened up for us
Yeah.
when we moved back to Florida was crazy. I'm not even gonna tell you guys in this episode how we even got to California. But what I'm saying is one opportunity led to another opportunity.
So true.
Crazy, right?
It's crazy.
So what in your lives right now what situations are you in right now that you're frustrated with and you refuse to see or gain understanding with the opportunities that are right there in front of you? It's big, man.
It's big, and you really do have to lean on those people if you are in that seat where you just can't see the opportunity. You do have to lean on those people that are around you and that you trust and that you know they want the best for you, whether that's family, whether that's a close friend, whether that is your spouse, whether that is someone that you really trust to see things objectively and not in their own perspective or their own benefit,
Right.
but really truly what is best for you. And you lean on that because sometimes we are too crowded and clouded judgment in
Hmm.
our own self. And so we have to lean those things. So if you're feeling frustrated, you've got to look at who's around you and trust them and surrounding of your relationship and saying, okay,
Right.
I'm reaching out to you. Can you help me in this? Because I can't see anything else.
Can't see anything else. I read the quote. This was actually um, Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt. This was a really cool
This is
quote.
so random. Franklin
I
Roosevelt.
know Franklin D. Roosevelt, and he says, "I'm gonna read this mad slow, y'all, because I need you guys to understand this and hear this." It says, "The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today." I'm gonna say that one more time. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. So, tomorrow, if you cannot really get past today and build some faith in yourself and gain some freaking courage, you will never see the opportunities that are in front of you for tomorrow. When next week comes, when next year comes, you're going to be sitting in the same exact place. I said it earlier. The opportunities aren't always banging on the door. Sometimes it is a subtle knock, and you have to be like, did you hear that? If you don't hear that for today, there might be a package that was supposed to come and you missed it. It got returned. Something happened in your life and you're still frustrated. But yesterday, there was a situation that you didn't realize was right there in front of you that can literally change tomorrow. So it's our fear of today, right? Because we overestimate the risk, fear takes over,
Yep.
and tomorrow we're in a much worse situation that we're in because the day before we did not make any changes.
And when you said courage, like it reminds me like courage is what you need to make the move,
Mhm.
but confidence comes in later. So sometimes you're at that edge and you're like, "Okay, I see the opportunity. I'm seeing it, but I don't have the confidence to make that move." It's okay. You don't need the confidence right now. What you need is courage. Decide you
Just do
have
it.
the courage. Just make that jump. And then the confidence comes when you see it start working. You're like, oh, here it comes. Now
Yeah.
things are clicking. Now things are getting progressing. Now things I'm seeing a little bit of success or a
Right.
little bit of views or a little bit of income stream. So that confidence comes actually later. It's really a do or die of jump with that courage. And then the confidence comes in later.
Yeah. So I want to give you guys a few pointers on how to, like, honestly, to enhance your ability to see opportunities, to be able to see it clearly. One of them I'm going to say is to keep educating yourself. Like, stay educated,
Yeah.
keep gaining knowledge. I have
Yeah.
about 3 books right now that I'm reading. Every single time I crack open the book or I listen to it, I have one book that I'm trying to read by turning pages, and that thing is taking me forever, right? Because I'm like, when do I have time to actually sit down and turn pages unless it's the Bible, right? But I have other books that I'm doing on Audible, and then I have other ones that I'm actually, it's more Kindle style. But continue to gain education. The more you gain more understanding, the more you educate yourself, the more your brain literally stretches, and you'll be able to see and identify opportunities better. Another one is to honestly to expand your network of the
Mm,
people that's in your circle.
yeah.
The people that I sit down with and talk with, every time I feel like I'm stuck, I reach out to other people that I haven't networked with because they start talking at a whole nother level.
It's true.
They start talking about stuff. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I find myself being the most quiet person in the room. And sometimes I like that because someone else is educating me and schooling me. Network, network, network.
And if you don't have those people in your life, pray for them to come into your life.
Yeah. Another one I was going to say is stay curious. Like, always wonder or think or learn to research. Learn to, like, I wonder what is that, and look it up. Yo, we like, we have Google now. We got Chat GPT. There's all these things that literally that we can tap into all the time and learn more things. Stay curious. If you stay curious, like, it's like, am I saying it right?
Curious.
Curious. It's because my French accent. Yeah, I can't always say stuff right. All right, all right. So relax. All right, just yeah. He's like, oh my gosh, he's French. Other day I went to Chick-fil-A, and we're out here in
Oh
Southern
my
California,
goodness.
and there's a lot of all of my Latinas or Hispanic Spanish speaking people are in the area. So I walk in and I'm like, if I tell them my name is Pierre, they're not gonna get this right. If I say Pierre, they're gonna be, oh yeah, Pierre. No, I
Pier.
said Pierre. Okay. Do you need me to spell it? Oh, I got it. Pier. No, that's Pierre. I'm telling you, Pierre. Pierre. And then every single time they're like, order for Pierre. Pierre. I said, no, I shouldn't. So last time I went there and I said, you know what? I'm gonna give them a different name. They're like, can I get a name for the order, please? I said, Pedro. Bro, the
I'm
girl came out.
done.
The girl came out. She's like, I have an order for Pedro. I was like, I knew it. I knew
On
y'all
the
was gonna.
money.
I was like, y'all was gonna nail this name.
That's hilarious.
So for a lot of you guys, I go by a lot of different
A
names.
lot of different names, but I love that you said it. Stay curious. I am in this season, and a lot of people that know us right now in this season. Dang, I gotta take the tag off the bottom of that cup. That's
Oh,
really wicked. Anyways, a lot of people that know me in this season have seen me do a lot of things,
right.
and that was because for so many years I put myself in a box and didn't let myself get out of that box.
Mm,
I was afraid to go into any other lanes. I was a hairdresser and that was it. I was a hairstylist and I'm only creative when I do this type of hair.
yeah.
And in 2020 is when I finally allowed myself to get out of that box and
Mm,
I started to be curious and I was allowing myself to explore these other ways and I learned I actually am a full creative person.
straight creative.
I am messy in my like way I keep my
Boy,
bedroom.
yeah, you are.
That we don't need to go into it.
Or no, I'm
Um,
sorry, you're creative. I'm sorry, take
yeah,
that
I'm
back.
creative. I'm creative in how I store my clothes. I'm creative in how I do my makeup. I'm creative in so I did balloons for a year and I loved doing balloons.
Yeah.
Went back to hair. I have been volunteering in social media at our church. I've got into graphic stuff in Canva. Like I was so curious about so many things, but I honestly, the fear literally kept me in that box for
Yeah.
so many years. So some people in the last few years are probably like, "Man, Danny Lee's all over the place." I'm so glad you noticed. Thank you. That's a growth for me.
Yeah.
And I'm in all over the place season
And
of like, let's try all these things
yeah.
because it's exploring a whole new side of me
Yep.
that I didn't know was there.
Exactly. And sometimes, like, that's how you're gonna stumble upon the next opportunities,
Yeah.
right? TD Jakes used to tell the story all the time
Mhm.
about how, like, people say, "Hey, how'd you get into that? How'd you get into that?" He was like, "I kind of just stumbled upon it." Yo, the person that said curiosity kills the cat is someone that got nowhere. It's somebody that lives in fear.
Yeah.
Curiosity kills the cat. Like, what is that? I'm telling you, curiosity opens doors.
Yeah.
Curiosity allows you to stumble upon something that can possibly change your life. If you walked into a basement or walked into an attic, if you're curious, you might find something nobody else was using. Find the opportunities that no one else has tapped into.
Yeah.
The only way you're gonna be able to do that is by being curious.
Yeah. And I've talked to so many business owners. I talked to one yesterday and she was like, "My idea seems so simple. I can't believe no one ever did it
There you
before."
go.
And she went for it and she built a home decor business based off of an idea that she could not believe
Yeah.
was not already made.
Yeah. So I wanna just tap in the very last one I'm gonna say. So of course, so I said to continue to educate yourself. The other one was to expand your network. And that one right there that I just said was to stay curious. And the very last one, we're gonna go back to the top, was to embrace change. Be okay with change. Right. If you're going into the gym, right? If you're trying to change your diets, all those type of things, be curious, educate yourself, get other people around your circle, but embrace the change. You'll be surprised the opportunities that opens up before y'all. That's all I got to say.
Be that CEO, change equals opportunity. And how you embrace that change, how you jump into change, how you look for the change, and then how you implement that change in yourself will determine whether you're going to be a CEO, whether you're going to go up to the next level, whether you're going to start the business. And honestly, we're just cheerleaders here for you. We are rooting for you. Like, if you want to start that business, if you have an idea, go for it. We're in that season. We're going for ideas. We're going for businesses. I've got things in the works, two different things that I'm working on outside of even this opportunity.
Yep.
I'm working on those things, and we're just cheerleaders rooting for you. Go for it, because every day that you sit there and doubt and think of how it couldn't work out, you're missing your dream.
Yep.
You're missing out on the opportunity
Right.
that you could be putting in towards your dream.
Yep. So I want to encourage you guys to continue to dig, continue to discover your purpose, continue to chase after God. Like, so many different things can change in your life. We've been digging, we've been discovering. There are gems that we're pulling out, there are bad roots that we're pulling out, and we're finding gold. Let's dig.
Let's dig.